Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech, the show where we bring you casual conversations and insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
And today,
We're going to dive deep into a TV tech that has everyone buzzing right now, and that's RGB Mini LED.
it's got the tech world in a tizzy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you ready to unpack this and figure out what's all the hype about?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
So we've been hearing about Mini LED TVs for a while now, right? They're
Mhm.
supposed to be like the next big thing, brighter, better, contrast, all that jazz.
Right. Yeah, they definitely make some improvements over traditional LED TVs, but, they still rely on that same old trick with the blue LEDs to create white light, and that comes with some limitations.
Well, what's the problem with white light? It's not pure enough or something.
Well, think of it this way. To get that white light, they're shining those blue LEDs onto these things called quantum dots, which then emit different colors, and those combine to create white light. But this indirect approach leads to some issues like backlight bleed, where you see the light leaking around the edges of objects on the screen,
Yeah.
and that makes those black areas look more like a washed out gray.
So that's why sometimes when I'm watching like a movie with a really dark scene, it just doesn't look as inky black as it should.
Right, exactly.
Kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not just about the black levels either. This whole reliance on blue LEDs and quantum dots can limit color accuracy and vibrancy of the picture overall.
Gotcha. So where does RGB Mini LED fit into all of this? Is this the hero that's come to save the day and solve all these problems?
Well, RGB Mini LED, it takes a different approach altogether. Instead of messing around with creating white light, it uses individual red, green, and blue mini LEDs as the backlight. So you're essentially going straight to the source of the color, eliminating the need for that white light conversion process.
Okay, so no more middleman, just pure, unadulterated color.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But how does that actually translate into a better picture for us viewers? Like, how does that actually make a difference when we're watching?
Imagine you're watching like a nature documentary, and you have a vibrant yellow sunflower against a backdrop of lush green leaves.
Okay.
With traditional LED TVs, you might see some of that yellow kind of bleeding into the green, or the colors might look a little dull.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely noticed that, like, the colors get a bit muddy, you know?
Right, but with RGB Mini LED, each tiny LED can be precisely controlled so you get those colors exactly where they're supposed to be.
Right.
So that sunflower pops with a pure, bright yellow, while the leaves remain a distinct, vibrant green.
Yeah.
No more bleeding, no more muddiness, just pure, accurate color.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm already picturing those nature documentaries with, like, hyper-real colors.
Right.
It's going to be awesome. But tell me who's actually making these RGB Mini LED TVs. Is this just a cool concept, or are there like actual products in the pipeline?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. Two major players are stepping into the ring, Sony and Hisense.
Ooh.
And they're both taking slightly different approaches, which is great for us consumers because it means more innovation and hopefully more competitive pricing.
Okay, competition is always good. Keeps everybody on their toes.
Exactly.
So let's talk Sony first. What's their strategy with RGB Mini LED?
Sony, they've been secretly working on this technology for 3 years.
Wow.
And they're known for taking their time to get things right,
Well, they're like the meticulous artist of the TV world,
Exact.
taking their time to craft the perfect masterpiece.
Right, and they're aiming high from what we've heard. Their goal is to achieve OLED level, black levels, brightness, color gamut, the whole shebang.
Wow. That's ambitious. But if anyone can pull it off, it's probably Sony, right? I mean, they've always been known for their amazing picture quality.
Absolutely, and here's the kicker. They're also aiming to make these TVs more affordable than OLED, especially for those massive screen sizes where OLED production costs just skyrocket.
Okay, now you're talking affordable and amazing picture quality. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But hold on. You mentioned another player in the game, Hisense. What do they bring to the table?
Hisense is taking a more go big or go home approach. They're planning to launch a whopping 116-inch RGB Mini LED TV as early as next year and branding it as Trichroma.
Whoa, 116 inches. That's practically a movie theater screen in your living room.
It's definitely a statement piece. Yeah. And while early impressions of their prototype have been positive, some experts have raised concerns about the process and complexity.
So it's like a race between the meticulous artist and the bold innovator.
Yeah.
Sony focusing on getting the details perfect, while Hisense is going for the wow factor. This is
Yeah.
getting exciting.
It is. And remember, you benefit from this competition, right? Whether Sony's meticulous approach or Hisense's boldness wins out, we're likely to see some incredible TVs hitting the market in the next few years.
I'm already thinking about which wall I'd need to knock down to fit one of these bad boys in my living room. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's delve a little deeper into what makes Sony's approach so intriguing. What's so special about their processing technology?
Well, this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty of how RGB Mini LED works its magic, and we'll explore that in part 2.
All right, stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Sony's approach to this RGB Mini LED, it's all about precision. They're essentially treating each Mini LED like a pixel,
Oh, wow.
giving them incredible control over the light output.
So it's not just about having more LEDs, it's about how you manage them.
Precisely, imagine you have a canvas with thousands of tiny lights, and you can adjust the brightness and color of each one individually.
Yeah,
That's the kind of control Sony's aiming for.
that sounds crazy complex. How do they even manage to do that?
It all comes down to their processing algorithms. They've developed some seriously sophisticated software that can analyze the image being displayed and then make split-second decisions about which LEDs to activate and at what intensity.
So it's like having a tiny computer dedicated to managing each of those little lights.
In a way, yes, and this level of control allows them to achieve some pretty remarkable things. For example, remember how we talked about backlight bleed being a problem with traditional LED TVs?
Yeah.
Well, with RGB, Mini LED, and Sony's processing, they can virtually eliminate that issue.
Wait, really? How does that work?
Because they have such fine-grained control over the LEDs, they can dim or even completely turn off the ones that are right next to the bright areas of the image.
Okay.
So you get those deep blacks without any of that annoying light leakage.
So no more halos around bright objects and dark scenes. That's a game changer for movie night.
Exactly.
But what about the colors themselves? Does this processing magic improve color accuracy too?
Absolutely. Remember, RGB Mini LED uses pure red, green, and blue LEDs as the backlight. So you're starting with a much wider range of colors to work with. And with Sony's processing, they can blend those colors together with incredible precision to create any shade imaginable.
So it's like having a painter's palette with millions of colors instead of just a handful.
Exactly. And the result is a picture that's incredibly vibrant and lifelike with colors that just pop off the screen.
You know, it's funny. We've been talking about all these technical details, but what really matters to me is the experience, right? Like, will I actually be able to see the difference when I'm sitting on my couch watching TV?
Oh, you'll definitely see the difference. Early reports from those who have seen Sony's prototypes have been overwhelmingly positive. They describe the picture as being incredibly immersive with stunning detail and depth.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued, but what about Hisense? They're going for that massive 116-inch screen, but can they keep up with Sony in terms of processing power?
That's the big question. While Hisense has impressed with their prototype, some experts have expressed concerns about whether their processing can match Sony's level of sophistication.
So it's a trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
Hisense might have the size advantage, but Sony could have the edge in picture quality.
It's possible, but we'll have to wait and see how the final products perform once they're released. Remember, technology is constantly evolving, and Hisense could surprise us with their processing capabilities.
It's like a tech showdown, and we're all ringside.
Right.
This is why I love following these developments. It's always exciting to see how companies push the boundaries of what's possible. But let's be real for a second. All this cutting-edge technology probably comes with a hefty price tag, right?
Well, that's the thing. While RGB Mini LED is certainly a premium technology, both Sony and Hisense are aiming to make it more accessible than OLED, especially for larger screen sizes.
Okay, so maybe I won't have to sell my car to afford one of these beauties.
Hopefully not.
That's good news.
Yeah.
But what about you as an expert? What are you most excited about when it comes to RGB Mini LED?
For me, it's the potential this technology has to truly elevate the home viewing experience. Imagine watching your favorite movies and TV shows with a level of detail and realism that was previously unimaginable.
It's like having a window into another world.
Exactly. And it's not just about entertainment. Think about the possibilities for education, for creative work, for anything that involves visual communication.
Yeah, that's a great point. We often focus on the entertainment aspect of TV technology, but the implications go far beyond that. But hey, before we get too philosophical, let's bring it back to the practical side of things. If someone is thinking about upgrading their TV in the near future, what should they keep in mind with all this talk about RGB Mini LED?
That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the key considerations for anyone looking to make the leap into this exciting new era of TV technology.
Okay, so we've been geeking out about RGB Mini LED and all its potential, but let's get real for a second. If I'm thinking about getting a new TV right now, what should I actually be looking for with all this new tech coming out?
Well, first off, don't rush out and buy the first RGB mini LED TV. You see, remember, this is still pretty early days for the technology.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of innovation and refinement in the next couple of years, so.
Patience is key.
Exactly. Let the dust settle a bit. See how those early models perform. Read some reviews before you make a decision.
Makes sense. So what about this whole Sony versus Hisense thing? Is one company's approach clearly better than the other?
It's really tough to say definitively right now. Both companies have their strengths. Sony's meticulous approach to processing is likely to result in exceptional picture quality, but Hisense's speed-to-market strategy could give them a real early advantage, you know?
So it's like choosing between a finely crafted sports car and a powerful muscle car.
Yeah, I like that.
Both are awesome in their own way, but it really depends on what you're looking for.
Exactly, and of course price will always be a factor. We'll have to see how those prices shake out once these TVs actually hit the shelves.
Yeah, good point. Speaking of prices, do you think RGB mini LED will eventually become more affordable than OLED?
Well, that's certainly the hope. One of the potential advantages of RGB mini LED is that it's not as complex to manufacture as OLED, especially for those larger screen sizes.
So maybe one day those massive 100-inch TVs won't cost as much as a small car.
It's possible, but again, it's too early to make any firm predictions.
Fair enough, but hey, even if it takes a while for the prices to come down, the potential of this technology is pretty mind-blowing.
Oh, absolutely. Just imagine you could have a TV that's brighter than OLED, potentially more affordable, and doesn't suffer from burn-in.
Sounds almost too good to be true.
Ah!
I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out.
That's the beauty of the tech world. There's always something new and exciting just over the horizon.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into RGB mini LED, what's the biggest takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the key message is this. Pay attention to this technology. RGB mini LED has the potential to revolutionize the way we experience visual content. And honestly, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible.
I completely agree. It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be hosting a Byte-Sized Tech episode entirely on a giant RGB mini LED screen.
Yeah.
Now that would be something. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, hit that like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. We'll catch you next time.